know you're not feeling well.
I'm good. I'm feeling better now. Thank you.
Good. I'm going to mute everybody out, but that doesn't mean you can't participate and talk and all that jazz. Okay. So I'm just muting out the background noise. Whenever you want to talk, feel free to jump in. I love seeing everybody's faces. Let me put you in present, there we go. So I can see you guys. So real quick, let me just give you the rundown of what we're going to talk about today, because I know some of you have never even been really on a group team call. So here's the quick agenda. So for our call tonight, and I like to keep it to 45 minutes. So we'll try to close out by 9:30 at the latest. We're going to do some general business updates first, what we've traditionally used our call for. And I want to also open up the opportunity for you guys to give shout outs. Just try to keep them to a minute or so, because otherwise we're not going to have time for content. But I love hearing what great things people are doing, celebration. Then we'll transition. I'm going to do a quick recap from this past week. And then we'll move forward with the content and what we're setting up to do next week. Now, then I also want to make sure I leave time for Q&A. Now, moving forward in the following weeks, you guys will find that there'll be more interaction and role play on these calls as the content rolls out. So we'll get into it in a little bit, but we'll be talking about your 30-second story this week. And it'll be something we'll get to role play and play with on our call next week. So this week may not be as interactive with the content that you've been putting to play, but next week will be, right? Okay, so with that said, I want to jump into just some general housekeeping before we get into six-figure side hustle, just as a large team. And so I'm going to start with some shout outs, and then I'd love to hear, shout outs that you guys have. I want to first of all give Jennifer Bartram a massive shout out. I don't even know if she's on the call right now. But she was just quite the hustler this week. She came through on my iSuppulse 3 or 4 times in massive action. I know she's loving being back at home in Ohio with her whole family. And I know that she's networking and she's just making things happen. I know that we're all in a completely different routine right now and can be thrown by that, but she's really running with it. So I know she's racing that executive status to hold and get that $750 payout each month. So, huge shout out to her. I want to give a big shout out to Naveen, because not only did she enroll about 2 weeks ago, but within days of being enrolled, she's pulled me into 2 3-way calls, which has resulted in an enrollment already. So she's halfway to Crystal Consultant, and she's been here. She's attended our first, our webinar we did last week or 2 weeks ago. And so just super coachable and showing up and doing the work. And the same for New. So New was my other brand new enrollment. I'm not sure if she's on the line tonight, but she came in just a day or two before or after Naveen. I can't remember now. But literally 24 hours after she was enrolled, she had a prospect on our prospect opportunity call. So if that's not being coachable and leveraging the resources and understanding that you don't have to be an expert. People are trying to get in. Shoot. I don't know what is. Okay, Jen's trying to get in. Let me hit admit. I'm going to have to do the password thing. So just wanted to give those girls a huge shout out from the folks I've been working with and coaching. I want to open it up to anyone else who wants to give some quick shout outs to their team, teammates, upline, sideline. Jennifer just gave you a big shout out for all your enrollments this week. You're crushing it, just so you know. I see her. She might not even hear me right now. All right. So I'm going to open it up for the rest of you guys. Who wants to talk?
I would like to give a shout out, Melissa.
Sure.
I want to give a shout out to our whole team. We're just really pumping up the energy, and I'm so proud of Jenny Spivey for doing the live video, because that was really stepping out of her comfort zone, but she did it anyways. And so
yes.
I'm so proud of her, and I see great things coming, and just for my whole team, they're so supportive and awesome, and I'm learning a lot already. through
Good.
this program.
This is all about getting uncomfortable. Whether you're a leader for the first time and you're learning how to lead others, or this is your first round in the boot camp and you're doing things you've never done before, like doing a Facebook Live. The whole goal is to stretch and grow you. And, you know, we talked about this when we kicked off the training, but, you know, we have to, being given deadlines and action items and being held accountable to pull it through is what's going to grow your business, and move us forward in a time of like chaos. So awesome. Great work, ladies. Any other shout outs people want to give? We're good.
I have one.
Go for it, Maya.
I want to shout out Dominique, who's on here. She is getting ready to graduate from undergrad. She's 22 years old. She decided that she wanted to jump into this opportunity. She's been on a get calls. She's been showing up on these Monday night calls. She really wants this. She's learning. She did her homework, and she said that what she wants is to know as much as she can so she can help as many people as she can. And she's just 22, but she's already in it, focused and driven. So I wanted to give her a shout out because I'm excited for her, and I'm loving it.
That is awesome, Dr. Maeva. And like, how exciting is it for you to see people growing within your team because of your leadership, right?
Yeah, well, and I'm grateful. And ladies, I just want to tell you this. When you learn to believe in yourself, and when you take the scales off your eyes, and when you realize that you're good enough and you're no longer tricked by thinking that you can do anything. And I say that because I don't know your religious beliefs or anything, but sometimes, depending on your spiritual beliefs, you might think it's the devil causing you not to do certain things. But I'm here to tell you, we give him too much credit. A lot of times it's us, and we do things to ourselves and our own beliefs that hold us back. And when you learn to believe in yourself, the sky is the limit. And I just want to say this. I believe, and one thing that I'm doing now, and I feel my posture changing, is I know that I'm called to this because God gave it to me. So even when I am not confident or don't feel strong, when I rely on Him, my strength is coming, and I get to ignore those thoughts. And the last thing I'll say is, I will, and I started saying this, and I believe it, my business will be multi-ethnic, multi-generational, global, and multiplying. And look, I have a 22-year-old that is wanting the business. So it starts here first, ladies, with all of us.
Yes. Oh my gosh, Maeva, so many amazing nuggets. And I couldn't agree more that your confidence and wherever you channel that from. I personally pray about my business to God every morning before anybody else wakes up, but to each their own, right? But the key is confidence. Wherever you get that confidence from, the more confident you are, the more lives you can change. And that's part of what this program is all about. So love it. Okay, any other recognition or shout out? I know Kim wanted to say something. Yep, go for it.
Yeah, I wanted to give a shout out to Allison, who got her first enrollment this week. She signed her friend up on a premium pack, and she's been she's on the 6-figure side hustle boot camp, and she's just coachable, and I'm just really proud of her. So.
I love it. Allison, you and Naveen are racing to Crystal Consultant together. Let's see who can crush it this week. I love it. Awesome.
Thank you.
Great work, ladies. Any other recognition before we dive into more content? Want to miss anybody? Okay. Jennifer,
Hey, Melissa, it's Dawn.
Hey, Dawn. How's it going, girlfriend?
Hey, hot mess, guys. Love it. Check out this gray and look at this hair. What is going on? So I know, it's so funny. But Really quick, I just want to shout out. So as Kim talked about with Allison, that is like ultimate coaching right there. So everyone's being really coachable. And Laurie is on the call, and Dory. So this is a total family affair. Dory is a cousin to Kim and I. Kim and I are sisters, by the way. A lot of people don't know that. And just really just being open to taking a look and expanding. I like everything you said, Maeva. When you believe in yourself, and then you have that confidence and that posture, it will be unbelievable what doors will open. And Laurie, a dear friend, is just, diving all in, had another enrollment, and she's just on fire. Love it. And she just figures it out. So way to go.
Awesome. And that's the way you want it. Danielle's a great example of that. I think I did like 2 or 3 three-way calls with her, and she was just running whether I could make the call or not. And if she needed information and she couldn't get a hold of me, she just found it. She just made it happen. Right. She wasn't just waiting on me. She just, when you love to have people manifested into your organization who just get things done and they are self-sufficient. And it's not that we don't love coaching and training, but you certainly love when people are willing to go Google something before they are gonna, ask a question, right? Google is my best friend to this day with Isogenics. So that's awesome. We love self-starters. Yay! All right. Any other recognition before we dive into a little bit more general housekeeping? We good? I always love giving Blady a huge shout out because I couldn't keep it together without her, especially right now with just the chaos of the kids and quarantine. And really, I guess I kind of have 4 kids in my house because my husband's here too. He's working from home on Wednesday and I'm like, okay. So let's get into, general housekeeping real quick. I'm looking at my notes here. Jennifer, any updates for Healthy Change or any of the admins anything you want to comment on before I dive into what's going on with Get this week?
We are just getting ready to do our first cleanse. We've had some really good engagement, interaction. First cleanse of this month together. A lot of connection because a lot of people need the extra accountability right now. So we dove into Gretchen Rubin a little bit. We're going to have more of that this week. Another little nugget touch on that. I'm going to post, I forgot tonight, about our overview tomorrow night. I'm going to put that in there. So Blady, you don't have to do that. And if you guys, any of you to add anything, the more engagement you have with the people, that gives you more power and leadership. You're welcome to do it. If you want a specific date, ask me. You tell me what your best days are, have at it. If you want to be regular, if you want to be random and you have something excellent, go for it. We're just happy to accommodate because it's all about connection and feeling it. Like I don't always post in ramp effect. I posted something today. I used Bia to make my Easter ham yesterday.
I saw that. That's awesome.
If something great hits you guys, have at it. I know I'm in a lot of conversation with Maeva, Blady, and Jenny and Terry some on it, but like Kim stepped up, Michelle stepped up. Those who aren't in a hot mess right now have stepped up, and we're just really connected and having a blast with it. So
yeah, great.
I think everything's good. If anyone has suggestions, we're always happy to go with those too.
Yeah, no, great point, Jennifer. And for sure, even for the brand newbies who just are starting, that are on your 30-day pack for the very first time right now. I know some of you are folding in prospects into this Healthy Change group. And to your point, Jennifer, the more engaged you are, your prospects are seeing how engaged you are with the product and your success. They're following you more than anything that we post. They don't know us from the man in the moon, right? But when you're in there talking about how much you're loving it, it really means a lot. So for sure.
And just remember, if you're trying to get in, Melissa, if you're brand new, you can scroll. We've had that Healthy Change page for a long time. You can look at things at the top. You can tag a friend to something if it pertains to cleanse. We typically do that a little bit each week and have whatever works for you. So we have information within the group that's already there. Just search the search engine at the top and you should be able to find it pretty easily.
Awesome. I need to get the recipe with the little Rice Krispies in it, because I got them to make like protein balls with Rice Krispies in them and Immune for my kids this week. Okay, Louise.
There's one good recipe in the actual Isagenix Healthy Choice recipe book, that little recipe book.
Oh, I got that one.
That's where I made my Rice Krispie ones from.
Cool. Oh, got some more people trying to get in. Hey, you know what? I don't know. I kind of like people not being able to get in because it creates promptness, right? Everybody's all like sliding in way past 8:30.
I'm normally good, but I've got a teenager here that you can't see helping with my slides. So I was like, oh crap.
Look, I've got 3 little kids. I half kid, but I'm half serious. So, I mean, there's been days where I've been thrown up on right before I'm supposed to run a call. And so I get it. But, okay. Welcome to the call, Louisa. I was actually getting ready to talk about you. So cool beans. I'm cleansing tomorrow without isodelites, which we'll see how that goes. They haven't shown up yet. All right. So general housekeeping about this week. So along with some of the leaders here on the line, will be running the global exec team calls this week. So please, we would love your support to jump in live. And if you've got new peeps, get them on the lines. One of the best calls to get people on to introduce them to our community, our larger community, is the Tuesday product calls. And Louisa does a beautiful job articulating just kind of like just the state of healthcare and functional medicine and how Isagenix is just incredible. And given her background and her profession and how articulate she is and how passionate she is about the products and what they've done for her, you don't want your new people to miss this call tomorrow. So I would highly suggest, run through your list of peeps that you've recently enrolled. Maybe even I would run through your product users you've enrolled in the past 3 to 4 months that you haven't ever invited to a global exec call. This could be your gateway to welcoming them to our community. And it could be a little bit of a teaser because we always close our calls with letting people know what's teed up for the rest of the week. So if you invite everyone in your back office for the past 2 or 3 months, or active folks, to come jump on this amazing call and hear from the fabulous Dr. Louisa about Isagenix and why the timing is so perfect for health right now. You never know who might then dial in on Wednesday after hearing what Louisa has to say, right? So take the time. I know it's 8:51 right now, but during the call tonight, you could be kind of thumbing through your enrollments, or even if you have, I'm not opposed to you inviting prospects to the call tomorrow morning for product if it's someone who you totally don't want them to hear business. Because the second thing I was going to say is tomorrow night, we have our functional medicine and financial freedom overview with our amazing physical therapist, Isagenix executive, Jennifer Bartram. And I'm so ecstatic to have her as our guest speaker tomorrow night. And so if you do nothing else between today and tomorrow morning, I highly, highly, highly encourage you to make 2 lists. Okay. This is your action. If you have to put the computer down and do it now because you have no other time, then double task, whatever the word is I'm trying to say, multitask. Make a list. Who are you going to invite to the product overview tomorrow morning? Give them the dial-in information. You should have the contact information in your phone. Literally just send it to them. Give them the credentials and why you're excited about the call tomorrow. On another list, who are you prospecting for the business? Who needs to hear the amazingness of Jennifer Bartram tomorrow night? I know I'm inviting my physical therapist to come hear her speak tomorrow because I know they're hurting in their industry right now. And I also know how overworked she is. And she knows what I do for a living. So I have a running list of fitness instructors. Everybody you invited last week to the overview with the earth, when the world stops spinning, whatever that overview was, those same people, don't be afraid to invite them this week. If they didn't respond, they weren't able to make it. Look, don't feel like you're being obnoxious if you're inviting them a week later. Amanda Ham invited me to probably a bazillion webinars that I never attended. until the very end, 8 months later. And then she enrolled me and I went executive, and you guys know the story, right? So if you do nothing else, like if you have no other time tonight, turn the volume down a little bit and start multitasking right now. Who are you going to invite to the product overview? Who are you going to invite to the business overview? So just a quick backgrounder on Jennifer, for those of you who are new. Jennifer's been a product user for probably 2 years, Jennifer. But she's also, again, she's a physical therapist and she's a health food nut. And her husband was a pro athlete, now a pro football coach, and her kids have all played either college sports or they're in the midst of competitive sports. So she has a really cool perspective that I don't, right? And so she's going to bring tremendous value in what she presents tomorrow night. The last thing I'll say on this, and this is why I'm really pushing it, is this is where leverage happens. People are always like, I don't understand, how is network marketing different than trading time for money? It's different than trading time for money because tomorrow, whether you have any knowledge or any expertise, you may have zero. You may have enrolled 3 days ago. You can invite people to the product overview where one of your teammates is going to present, not you, and is going to do a phenomenal job on the product. And you can invite people tomorrow night to listen to a phenomenal overview about the opportunity where you don't have to do anything, but invite them. You're leveraging your teammates who've been here a while. They're doing it. Guys, Naveen and New, who are on the line tonight, attended Louisa and I's overview 2 weeks ago, okay? We communicated and they said, yes, I'd like to watch the overview. They watched the overview. I followed up with them. They're interested in the business. I've enrolled them, right? So this is a very classic example of how these overviews work. Let them work for you. Let Jennifer and I and Louisa and I work for you over the next 24 hours. We can't help you though if you don't, like send out the messages and have your list organized. So, okay. So I'll get off my soapbox, but overviews really do work. And you don't have to know anything. You can just ask people to take a look. It's actually perfect for new people. Okay, I said I was going to shut up. Okay. One other thing with with general housekeeping. If you're not aware, Global Celebration that was supposed to be in Salt Lake City has been canceled due to the coronavirus. It will now be virtual in May. Okay. For those of you that are brand new, I can't remember what the date is. We'll have to look it up. But this is something that's going to be absolutely mandatory for all of us to attend virtually. I know we were all going to fly there, but now it's a virtual event. You can go to your back office and click on events and get the details of when the webinar, when it'll actually be presented. But this is like your global training from corporate headquarters. You do not want to miss it. So go ahead and mark your calendars. There's also an incredible event on May 2nd. It's some global training as well. And the keynote speakers are phenomenal. So when you check out the events, check that one out too. Okay. So that's it for general housekeeping. So, here we go. So Maeva says it's July 17th and 18th. Perfect. Mark your calendars. Mark your calendars. Okay. So this past week, we really dug deep into what excites us. How many of you guys had fun with that? Dreaming, maybe some of you for the first time in years, right? Really getting deep into what motivates you. Why are you doing this, right? And for some of you, it was your first chance as a new leader to lead that conversation and have that conversation with your personally enrolled who's here on the line. So if you haven't already, be sure to book time with your leader to go over specifically what excites you and exactly what your goals are over the next 90 days, physically and financially. So I'm going to hold you guys accountable. We're all adults, to reach out to your upline if you haven't already and have those conversations, because it's going to be so important, because there's good days and there's bad days in entrepreneurship. And on the bad days, you want your leaders to know what excites you to help pull you through the bad days, right? So has everybody had a conversation with their upline? Does anybody still need to do it? let's see, raise your hand. Can you raise hands? I don't know. Let me see the chat box now. Wave at me if you've already had your vision casting call with your leader. Okay, awesome. Awesome. All right. Okay.
Did you say if you already had it, Melissa?
If you've already, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so the rest of this call, and again, it shouldn't take long. I just want to kind of tee up this week and then make sure we have room for questions. So week 2 is all about stories, okay? Those of you who've been around know that stories sell. Stories actually sell more than the information you know about the products. And that's really hard for pharmacists to come to grips with. Because I know when I first came in, and probably Louisa, and probably Jennifer, and probably Nicoletta, I'm looking at all the healthcare providers in here, probably Laura, we all wanted to know like every ingredient and know absolutely everything about the science behind the products, which gives us confidence, right? But when you get on the phone with a prospect and all we do is blubber about ashwagandha and intermittent fasting and yerba mate and oxidative stress, most people gloss over, right? But the moment we can get into emotion, the moment we can get into what our life was like before we started these products and where our life is today, and we can tell that story succinctly and passionately with conviction, people listen. Stories sell, okay? So what we're going to talk about, and it's not to discredit the knowledge of the products, because you guys are going to learn as you go, and you're going to pick up amazingness, and you're just, going to be blown away at how incredible the product line is. But it's still, for the average Joe, it's going to be the stories that sell. And you have 30 seconds typically with any given person to be succinct about your story and connect. So that's going to be a lot about what you're going to learn about this week in the module. And the other thing you're going to be doing is brainstorming your network and truly putting pen to paper, okay? Again, you're going to learn the worksheets for the 30-second story and the worksheets for who do you know are all in your training for this week. Don't be like me. For 6 months, I didn't put a name on paper. My upline kept telling me, who do you know? Put it on paper. Who are your top 100 people? And I just thought, well, I have it in my head. And I started out hot and I rolled a lot of people. And then all of a sudden I hit a wall. Okay. And I hit a wall and I wasn't enrolling people. And I couldn't figure out why. And I felt like I was just bothering people. And it finally dawned on me that it was because I had a mental list of about 7 or 8 people that I thought for sure needed to be in this organization with these products. And I would not leave them the hell alone. And I wouldn't leave them alone. And I felt like I was pestering them because I was putting so much pressure on myself to get my next enrollment. And I hadn't actually done the brainstorming activity to truly think about who I know in all my networks. Because once I actually started to do that, you guys, my running list now is like 400 or 500, okay? Once you actually really start to tickle your brain about who you know, you will never run out of people. And not only will you never run out of people, but you'll stop bothering and vulturing and circling like the 3 that were kind of interested, and now they've completely ghosted you, right? And so I'm saying that out of complete honesty because I've been there where I just kept this like running mental list of these people I thought I was going to enroll and they weren't enrolling. And I kept circling back to them and back to them and back to them instead of thinking about, okay, who do I know in the community? Who do I know at the church? Who do I know at the school? How am I connected? Where's my Christmas card list? Where's my wedding list, right? Who are my LinkedIn connections? So where's the directory for the neighborhood, right? Like when you really start to think about it, you know a lot of people. Who do I know from the gyms that I go to? Like who did I go to high school with? Was I in a sorority? Who did I room with in college? Who are my college friends? Guys, I could go all day long, right? Get out your yearbooks. I enrolled some of the, there are people I hadn't talked to in 20 years. I ended up enrolling through Facebook. Like, and it was so much fun reconnecting with some of these people that I hadn't seen or talked to. And like Louisa, I hadn't talked to her in like 10 or 12 months. And I never even met her I never met her face to face. It was an argument over a lab coat in the pharmacy, whether that I had. What's the point? What's the point of this? The point of this is that, you know, like Louisa and I never even truly met each other. We had just been coworkers in the same chain pharmacy where we both did relief work. And we connected through LinkedIn. How distant and far apart is that connection? Had I not been strategic and putting that list to paper, my connections, and being persistent and connecting and following up, if I'd only just stuck with the 10 people I knew, like front and center, my business never would have grown. Does that make sense? Am I making sense to you guys? So I'm really going to challenge you to stretch your brain on this, but not only stretch your brain, but hold yourself accountable. So here's where the magic happens. When you start putting pen to paper, you start to, like, all of a sudden, all these other people just start spilling out of your brain, like people that people know, that people know, that people know, right? Don't like neglect to put down an ex-boyfriend that ended horribly 20 years ago. I'm not saying you're going to enroll him, but it may make you think about an entire network that he's connected with that you're still connected with, right? Don't discredit your grandmother. Put her name down. You never know who within her network needs this, right? It's an activity for who you know, right? So in conclusion with those two things, I really want you guys to work through your worksheets this week on your 30-second story. Some of you are brand spanking new and you're still working through your story, and that is okay, right? You can even lean on the stories that you know as you're working towards your own story. And there'll be times where you have to flex and use someone else's story anyway, because it's not your story. Like I'm thinking of Naveen, she's not on this to lose weight. She's on it to put in lean muscle mass. So her 30-second story is not going to connect with someone who wants to lose 50 pounds. But her husband's lost probably 3 to 5 pounds by now. And so that 30-second story is going to be more relevant to him. So what I want you guys to do this week is, once you've worked through your worksheet on your 30-second story, I want you to book time with your leader. Doesn't have to be long, 10, 15 minutes. And I want you to practice your story. And I want you to be more receptive to feedback than you ever have been, okay? I want you to know that the feedback you're getting is out of love, out of us wanting you to be successful. We can get so excited about our story and everything that we know that we tend to get really long-winded. So be open to the feedback. And when we reconvene next Monday night, I'm just going to kind of Russian roulette call on you guys to share your stories. Now, I see 20 people on the line right now. So what I don't want to see next Monday is like 9 show up because you're afraid you're going to get called on. Because here's the thing. Do we grow in a comfort zone? No, right? Are we going to spout out our 30-second story with confidence if we haven't practiced it? No. It's not going to be concise. We're going to feel weird. Our hands are going to be sweaty. Our heart's going to be racing. We're going to feel like we're being weird because we are being weird, right? So that's why we're going to practice and get feedback together as a group, okay? But practice with your upline first, because I think it'll give you more confidence here on the line. And I think that 2 rounds of practice is what's going to help with going through it with your upline and then going through it and the other thing is, here's the beauty of you guys. This is why you have to join next week. The beauty of hearing your teammates' stories, because no 2 stories are the same. And the more stories you hear, you get to put in your back pocket as a connecting story for a prospect that you run into. It may be someone with autoimmune. It may be someone with diabetes. It may be someone who needed to put on lean muscle mass. It may be somebody who just needed more energy, and that wasn't you, but you just heard the story and now you can share it. I have a friend who's on the same products as me, and she was telling me about her migraines just like you, right? Okay. All right. So The other piece of homework with that is just so we all hold ourselves accountable. I know I feel like a school teacher, but I kind of am. I'm teaching first grade and second grade right now. Take a screenshot of your list. I will take a screenshot of your list of who do you know. And by the end of the week, it doesn't have to be 100 yet, but it needs to be a progress. I want you to send it to your upline. Okay. I'd love to see the screenshots in our Facebook page. We may raffle off something fun for someone who, is the most engaged this week, or everyone who, that's what we'll do. Lady, hold me accountable to this. Everyone who posts their who do you know list, we're going to raffle off some Isagenix products. Okay. Last thing, and then I'm going to open up for Q&A, is the last call to action. Hang on, let me look at my notes. Where'd it go? We're going to take action this week. We're going to start messaging people, okay? So for some of you, you're brand new. In your training this week, you're going to see some templates for texting a few friends to see if they'd be interested in getting started. I also have a template for leading with the business. If you're more comfortable reaching out professionally about the financial opportunity, I suggest go to LinkedIn. It's a great platform to reach out about financial opportunity. If you're looking to just reach out to your ride or dies right now and see who's interested in sifting for interest and doing a 30-day, we're giving you the templates on that. But the key is that we want you to be able to start sending out messages, start connecting with people, and getting the opportunity to get them on the phone and start to share your story. It's all about storytelling, sifting for interest and sharing your story and seeing if they'd be interested in watching an overview, right? Listening or learning more. So that's it. I'm challenging you guys to really get into action this week, and we'll circle back on Monday next week to really start talking about our stories. Now I want to pause and see what questions you guys have about, Danielle's trying to get back in. Want to see what questions you guys have about the content so far, feedback, just any questions. This is your time for Q&A or anything I announced about general housekeeping, anything. Let me see. Naveen, are you trying to ask a question? Okay, hang on. Let me unmute you. You can unmute yourself in the left-hand corner, but here we go. I got you unmuted.
Okay, Melissa, I have a question, please.
Yes.
So for people that you don't connect with them for a long time, like for years, maybe your neighbors, your colleagues, whoever, how do you reconnect with them again? Like it doesn't look and introduce that business or that product for them, because it seems like, okay, you connect with them again because you want something from them, and it's tough, kind of like, do you just first like say hi, what are you doing, and something, and then like kind of the second message or the second day just like introduce what we are doing or use that products for them? Because it's for me it really looks like kind of weird to connect with people that I don't connect with them for a long time, just to introduce that for them or what I'm doing.
Yeah, no, great question.
Melissa, Dawn's trying to get back in. I'm so sorry. She just messaged us.
Yeah, I see the message, but I don't see her in the queue to come in. So okay. I don't know where
I'll work on that. Sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. Tell her to try again. I'm looking now. So Naveen, this is a really great question, and anybody else feel free to hop in. What I like to do is to authentically connect. So compliment, start with a compliment. Are you following them on Facebook? Is there something you've noticed? Was there a cute photo of their family, or maybe it's someone on LinkedIn and you want to comment about their career or their position? So that really there's like the pleasantries of kind of connecting, and typically what happens is if you ask questions, then they'll ultimately ask questions too. So what I default to when I was first reaching out to my warm market. So you're talking about a warm market. They're slightly cold, but they're still warm because you know them. I don't have a warm market anymore. I'm like prospecting complete strangers, but I did for a long time. I was doing what you're asking about. And the key is to, authentically connect and have some back and forth until the opportunity arises where they ask you what you're up to, right? So you want to start with compliment, ask them what they're up to. And when you get the chance, what I would do, especially when I was in your shoes and people ask me what I did, and Dawn can speak to this, and a lot of you who work full-time, Dawn would say, and I did too, is, well, I'm a medical director in the pharmaceutical industry by day, but it's funny you ask because my passion is my side hustle at night. Mm-hmm. And usually that just opens a can of worms, right? Where people are like, oh, well, what is it about? Tell me more. So that's how you can kind of open the door to sift for interest without being salesy, right? You're just being open and honest about what you're doing and what you're excited about. And I've enrolled a lot of people that way, or just created curiosity that way when I first got started. Mm-hmm. Even before I had a lot of success, right? I would lean on the success of my upline. Well, I'm in this corporate gig right now. Usually there'd be some back and forth, and they were burnt out just like I was, or, juggling a lot as a mom in their career. And I would connect and what's the word? Validate that I was feeling the same way. It could go a couple different ways. If they're just complaining of being exhausted, trying to keep up with it. Hey, I was feeling the same way. Oh my gosh, girl, you've got to, well, this is after you've been back and forth a little bit, but you could, depending on your personality, you could say, you've got to check this stuff out. I've been using this nutrition's like off the hook, helping me keep up with everything. Or, I was exhausted too, but this product was my saving grace. It depends on where the conversation goes when you reach out to them.
So you don't recommend to send just a direct message, kind of like, look, I'm interested in that. If do you want to, are you interested to learn more about it or something like this?
It depends on the platform. So good question. I would say if you're sending a DM on Instagram or Facebook, you're going to be perceived as super spammy if you go straight to their DMs and ask them if they are interested in the products or the business. Now, if you know them well enough that you actually have them in your phone, and you truly authentically think they'd be phenomenal at the business, that's a different conversation. I'm not afraid to directly go to people about the business, because I've learned through 5 years that when you're direct about the financial opportunity with confidence with people that you think would be amazing at it, there is nothing wrong with that. People, but I prefer the LinkedIn platform for that, or just directly messaging people. If you're sifting just to look for the opportunity for enrollments for product, I find that kind of authentically kind of rekindling a past relationship through a little bit of banter is better. I don't know if this helps or if I'm like talking out of both sides of my mouth.
Melissa, do you find that this is chiming in with what Nevin is saying? If I'm saying that right, sorry. Is it Naveen or Nevin?
Naveen.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I know the spelling is Nevin, but it's all my family and friends is Naveen. Yeah.
Okay. But do you find that less is more?
Yes.
When you're I found I got more response if I just asked a few questions,
Yes.
and then got a response back, and then another question, and then a response back. Yep. So that's how you get the back and forth.
Yes.
And that's kind of how you build a relationship and either find their pain point or, some way that you could lead in with what you want to offer.
For sure. Less is more in creating curiosity. The thing is, here's the thing, and Naveen, you'll kind of get this as you go along. As you begin, because we haven't gotten into this yet, but as you begin to create your own personal brand on Facebook and Instagram, part of weekly content that you're going to be putting out there is relevant to health and wellness and not in a salesy way, but it's going to create some brand for you. And on occasion, you're going to be sharing your story, your husband's story, testimonials from people on the team. So what happens is if you have a nice kind of conveyor belt of content going through your feed, then when you, sorry, somebody trying to get in? No. Then when you authentically connect and start your banter back and forth, chances are they've seen a post or two you've put up about it. And if they have any level of curiosity, they're going to bring it up. Okay. Mm-hmm. So for instance, I have a LinkedIn example that's perfect. But you have to, and I don't want to overwhelm you right now because you don't need to be putting a bunch of content up right now. You're just learning. But Jody was one of the deans of a pharmacy school that I went to, and we've been back and forth a couple of different times about isogenics where she needed to lose weight, and then she just ghosted me. I never heard back from her. And then there was one time where she was actually interested in the business, and then literally like 2 years go by and she ghosts me. So now she's a vice president at William and Mary Peace University. So her message to me, when we started our banter back and forth, I won't read all of it, but in our banter back and forth, because she had been in the Caribbean, she said, haha, I'm not in the Caribbean anymore. Some days I sure do wish I was, but it was time to go when I did. Needed a change. I moved back to Raleigh about 3 years ago, and I'm working for a small private school here. It seems like you are doing great. Okay, how does she know I'm doing great? Because I plaster that shit all over social media, right? Like I just do, right? I'm just a happy person loving life, and that's part of my brand, right? Health, wellness, happiness. Like I'm just that, like I want people to feel my energy, know my community, and not have a shadow of a doubt what I'm about, right? So she says, seems like you're doing great. You look wonderful also. What's your secret? So see, she asked, what's your secret? But see, my point in all of this, and she says, well, great to connect, keep doing great things. Of course, I responded and invited her to the overview tomorrow night, and she's joining, and I'm enrolling her Wednesday. I'm calling it. But so what's my point in all of this? This would be someone I hadn't talked to in probably a year and a half, 2 years. I've been putting content out that apparently resonated with her. And she finally, we got into a banter back and forth because she requested to connect with me on LinkedIn. We were already friends on Facebook. And apparently we weren't friends on LinkedIn. It was kind of funny because I have Blady helping me manage some of my connections. And so when she responded, because I was like, oh, what did you find, what was it about my profile that piqued your interest? She's like, maybe because I know you. I was like, oh yeah, okay. But anyway, where am I going with all of this? I created a brand for myself on one platform, and it was through the work that I'm putting out there about the energy and what I'm about, and you'll learn about this over the next couple of weeks, that attracted her to me. So that all it took was a little bit of back and forth, but you can tell from that message, I didn't directly say in that first message, hey, do you want to join my webinar? Do you want to lose weight? Do you want to learn about a business? No, I just said, hey, how are you? I laughed and said, that was my admin responding. She responds weekly to my connection request. She has no idea we already know each other, right? And so we had a little bit of a laugh about that. And I asked her how her dream job was going in the Caribbean. So you see how I just created some pleasantries. So it's just about creating pleasantries, but then they'll open the door if you've created a brand and it's something they're interested in. Is that making sense to you guys? Like I didn't have to go directly in on it. We kind of came around it.
Melissa, can I share something?
Yes.
That I think that speaks to that same thing. Right now, given the pandemic we're living in, is a really much easier time for someone because more people are on social media than I've ever been in before, especially some of your old warm market. There's someone here locally. We've been acquaintances forever. I prospected her before, but during this time frame, she's loving what I'm doing with my family. I'm all over Facebook, not so much with Isogenics, but just kind of with my brand and who I am. She just reached out to me this past week and she's like, hey, I was ordering Isogenics under someone else. They're not ordering anymore. I want to place an order. I want to do under you. And I'm like, well, you can't exactly do that, I don't think. I said, we need to call Isogenics. She's like, well, so anyway, she started an account under her husband because she wanted to order under me, because she's like, I want you to benefit from this because I know how passionate you are about that. I didn't even ask her. I didn't prospect.
Right.
It's all about people seeing you, but this is the time. I had been in conversation with her throughout this time that we're back in Ohio, because I've been living in New Jersey, for those of you who don't know me, but anyway, my life's a little strange. But so anyway, I had someone else do that too. They're totally just reaching out to me because they want to be a part, they want to be connected. And so now, even if you feel odd, is the best time to check in on someone.
Yes.
Especially those of you who missed that Zach Slobin verbiage. I know Blady has it. I copied it, and you have it just on how to get that introduction across. It's so easy. Just like, hey, how are you doing in this? I'm worried about you, da 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 da. You came to my mind, da 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 da. Genuinely, that's how I reached out.
Yes. Yes. For sure. And you can scroll back in our Facebook post from Team Live the Free Life. All the verbiage is in there for like how to reach out during this time. We can kind of boost it back up too. But you're right, Jennifer. Here, Stacy has it right here. You guys can copy and paste it. Oh, I thought about you because, yeah, I fired off so many of those messages last week for gym owners, fitness professionals, physical therapists, just knowing who was going to be speaking last week. So great question.
Guys, could I share something?
Yes.
Danielle. I'm like super excited right now because I don't know why I'm shocked, but I like listened to what you said before. You're like, just take a minute to think of a physical therapist that you know that might benefit. So I did, and I shot her a message, and like just 2 seconds ago, she responded back to me. She's like, hey, yes, what time? Is it virtual? So I'm like, like so excited.
Yes.
Like when I do, see, this is my problem though. And if I could just get out of my own way,
yeah,
I'm fine. And it's funny because I reached out to Stacy earlier, and then what she said coupled what you said, we were talking about the list, it's like 200% exactly what I needed to hear. So I just wanted to like share that little happiness.
I love it.
You guys are the best. Thanks.
Oh, you're the best.
Really? No, you guys.
And you guys get to hear from Danielle on the Rising Leaders call on Thursday, and you can hear her nuggets on how to enroll 11 people in 1.5 months. And Christine Minukin will be on the call, and so will Jennifer Bartram, because these girls are blowing up. Yes, so all good stuff. You have to do the do, right? We can get in our own way. The bottom line is you just have to take action and be willing for it to be messy, but just be authentically, just be you. Just be you. Why are you excited about this? Why are you thinking about this person? And convey that. And the challenge is to get them on the phone as quickly as possible. I've looked at messages I wrote like 5 years ago when I first started, and it was like a dissertation like this long about the company and the opportunity and the products and my personal transformation and every website known to man, and nobody ever responded, and I wondered why. So if you're there right now, know that you can come a long way. Okay, awesome. Other questions?
Sorry, this just popped in my head, but I have to say this because it has really helped me just to get response back, and that is to ask if someone's open to taking a look at something before you send it, and that way you know that they have an inkling of interest, I guess, or that they're giving you permission. And so that's a good feeling, and it kind of lets you in a little bit.
I love that. I love that. And Krista, I use that verbiage all the time. Actually, I don't give away anything for free. It requires like a response, right? So one of the worst thing you can do is just push a bunch of information on someone who didn't ask for it. I had a really bad network marketer do that to me the other day, and I had to give her some feedback. And I told her that maybe she needed to join my LinkedIn boot camp. Anyway, I love asking people if would you, or, is this a good time? Are you open? Are you open? Is this a good time? Those are great words. And then I actually never send the link to the webinar unless I get a response. So what I'll say is, I thought about you because of XYZ. Is now a good time? We have a phenomenal overview tomorrow night. If I sent you the link, would you join? See, for the first 4 years, I didn't use that verbiage. I just spammed out 100 of those messages that said, have an overview tomorrow night, would love for you to take a look, with the link, right? With the link, just. And then you have no finger on the pulse of people's level of interest, because you fired off 100 wet noodle messages with no call to action or no need for response. Whereas when you send a message and you let people know why you're thinking about them, you're asking them if they're open, and if they're truly open at this time and the timing is right, they're going to stop and they're going to respond and they're going to say yes. And especially to y'all's point right now, because people aren't busy at night. Jody said, the one we were just talking about, her final comment was, I'd love to see it. I'm pretty open these days in the evenings, with a smiley face. Please send. I had 6 people today say, yes, I'm coming. I want the link tomorrow because I'm open. There's like, what else is there for me to do? Now, they didn't just fall in my lap. Okay. This was me putting out content the past couple of weeks. I probably posted about webinars we've had the past couple of weeks, and they didn't respond or didn't comment or like, but it was in their feed, right? And I'm kind of first to mind, so that when I do bring it up, they're like, yeah, okay, sure, I'll join. So great points. Right now, you guys, we have a window during quarantine. We're going to get so many more bodies in front of these presentations. Take the time. I know we've kind of beat a dead bush, but we had 7,000 people on the call with Kathy Coover and Susan Miller, like 2 weeks ago. Did you guys know that? 7,000. People are looking for a secondary income stream. Okay. All right. Other questions? It's 9:30. I promised we'd be done by 9:30.
I do have a question, Melissa.
Yes.
Okay, so I've been sending a lot of messages to people, and they were just open. They send me a message back telling me, yeah, we're open to look. And then, how do you follow up with them? They didn't get back to me.
Yep. So always
do you
follow
go
up.
back and do you go back and follow up? And if you follow up with them, what kind of verbiage you should use in order to sound more authentic to them?
So I always follow up in 2 days, 2 weeks, and 2 months. Okay. So and what I do is I've already made a list of people who are already, I don't know if you can see my thing, who have already agreed to the webinar tomorrow night. So I've already written their names down, number 1, so that about 10 minutes before the webinar, I'm going to fire off the link again so that it pops up as a reminder. But number 2, I have the list organized. This is a hot list that just said yes, that I'm going to follow up with. I don't even wait 2 days for webinars. I actually follow up the next day. If it was a call I had with them, I wait 2 days. So I would wait 2 days. Now, my first question for you, Catherine, would be, when you sent the messages, did you ask them, if I send you the link, would you join? Or did you just send the link?
I send the link.
Yep. That's okay. I did that for 4 years. So don't feel bad about it. This is a learning moment for you, that you would have much more of a litmus test. Like you'd have more of a feeling of their level of interest if you actually prompted them to have to respond to get the link, right? But I would respond. I would respond tomorrow. I would follow up, or Wednesday. Sorry. I would get organized with your list, and on Wednesday say, hey, Wanted to know, if you were able to make the call on Tuesday night. Would love your thoughts on the presentation. 90% of people, I'm going to tell you right now, this list of 6 who said they're going to come tomorrow night, I bet 2 will actually attend. That's just how life goes. But what will happen is I'm going to send a follow-up to every single one of them. And the 2 that attended, great. My goal is out of those 2, 1 actually get on the phone with me to talk about actually joining the business. The other 6, my goal is that they say, crap, I missed it. Life got in the way. And I'll say, no worries. If I sent you the recording, would you watch it?
Watch it. Yeah.
And then when they say, sure, I send the recording. Now, when I send the recording, 90% of people still never respond. It's on me 2 days later. Hey, did you have a chance to watch the recording? They don't know what they don't know. They don't know what they're missing. 9 times out of 10, they haven't even watched it yet. And it's your reminder for the people who have some level of interest to actually go watch it. And I follow up again. Hey, what were your thoughts? And
I just sometimes feel like they're gonna just think, who's this weird chick after us all the time?
No, that's all in your head, because what I say is, if I have sent them a message and they've shown some level of interest, I'm going to be professional about it and follow up. But my policy is 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months. So at the 2-month mark, I will say, hey, I don't want to be a nag. Would you prefer that I take you off my follow-up list, or do you want me to continue following up? And it's funny, people will go either way. Some people freak out because they just weren't ready, either financially, or if it's a physical thing. A lot of people, they get in their own heads and they're just not ready to commit. They know what they're up against to totally change what they're doing with their health. And they need you and they want you, but they're not ready to pull the trigger. And when you are about to take it away, actually, that's when a lot of people will commit. When you say, hey, I'll take you off my follow-up list, they're like, no, don't give up on me, right? And that sometimes when they pull the trigger, sometimes they're going to say, yeah, you know what, I'll let you know when I need it. And in that case, great. Take them off your follow-up list and don't be attached to the outcome.
That's actually a good point. Should I follow up, or you want me to take you out of my list?
Yeah.
Okay.
And people will freak out over that if they're just holding on to you to follow up till they're ready. Right? A lot. And I'm telling you, whether it's business or whether it's product, for a lot of people, it's a huge commitment to make a change in their lifestyle or to think about doing business with you. Either way, they get in their own head about it.
Yeah.
Melissa, I was going to, sorry, Catherine. Melissa, I was going to piggyback on the advice you were giving. And I want to do this more often, and I've just thought of it, so I wanted to share. But I've also heard on our team calls where you can also set the expectation up front when you're going to follow up with them. And I think that would probably be something really good to do with a recording, or whenever we send out the Get It Fit website, is when they say, yes, I will, and you say, watch it or whatever, when you send the link, you can say, okay, awesome, here it is. I'm going to follow up with you on Wednesday. If it's Monday, that way they're already expecting you to come back, and that kind of takes some of that pressure off of us.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And I was coaching Nicoletta on this. I think she fell off the other day too. When you're wrapping up a call, and you guys you'll learn more about this as we go through the training, but you never hang up the phone without scheduling a follow-up. So, and I failed to do that with you the other day, Naveen. And I think part of that was just because your friend was so convincing that she was going to start, that there was really no need to schedule a follow-up. She just needed to basically, have that conversation with her husband. But you should never get off the phone. If you get an objection, the only objection is, I need to do a little bit more research. Never get off the phone without scheduling your follow-up call. Great. Here's a couple of websites. Here's some things to look at. Let's follow up. I think I did that with you, Naveen, as a matter of fact. I gave you information, and we booked a call a couple days later to follow up on the information that she had looked at, right? I made sure she was in my calendar before I hung up, right? So really good point. All right, guys, it is 7 minutes past.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
How much do you want me to, am I the only one talking tomorrow morning? Just about product, right? Or are you
Yes,
going to be
ma'am.
doing some?
I'm just
Okay,
going to
so
kick
then-
off the call and introduce you. Do you want to do a Facebook Live? Do you want to be on video?
At 4:35 in the morning? Really?
Kidding. I said that on purpose because I knew it was like 4:30 in the morning.
I have to have my coffee. Anyway, all right then. I think I'm gonna touch on our protein, and then I'm also gonna touch on our dairy free, because I have a little time, so I'll touch on those things too.
You'll have like
the telomere stuff.
You'll have 25 minutes. You'll have more time than you usually do on an opportunity.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, that's perfect. All right. I just want to be sure. Okay, sounds good.
You just provide so much value. I know that people are going to eat up what you have to share tomorrow with the science. So if you guys have people who are really into the weeds with science that are your prospects of yours, get them on this call tomorrow. Have them take a listen tomorrow morning. Fire off the dial-in information. All right, guys.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Louisa, when you do, when you talk about the plant-based shakes, could you mention the benefit of, I know Dr. Plant has said that even when you can do the whey, that it's good to have the plant-based integrated with it every so often. Yeah. But I don't remember why. And I mentioned that to someone, and they should be on the call more. So while we were here, I just sent out up to about 18 people.
Yeah, I'll look it up. But and that's an important thing to bring up, Eva, because I do that. I try to incorporate as much plant-based, and I do both the plant-based and the whey-based, because they're both so high, they're both so good. So I will absolutely bring that up, and that's a really good point. So I will be sure to bring that up.
Thank you.
Yep. Awesome sauce. All right, and Blady, you and I will get together tomorrow and figure out how to maneuver this Zoom for the call tomorrow. Wesley's getting her cast off in the morning, so it'll be sometime midday. Hopefully she's getting it off. All right, guys. Well, have a wonderful evening. Take action. See who you can get to load the lines tomorrow. Can't wait to see your faces next week on our team call. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.